Hi everyone. Hi everyone. Hi everyone. Hi everyone. Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to show you how to make seed bombs.
Yeah, in your kits, you are going to find you have a silicone mold. There we go. Silicone mold, some seeds, and 3 pieces of construction paper.
Now, the seeds in your kit today, if you got it from us, they are native to the Northeast. So if you're going to try this on your own, make sure whatever seeds you get are native to the area that you're going to plant them in.
So what will you need? A blender or a potato masher or a pastry padoodler? Cutter. Some of the other materials you'll need a blender, so get a parent to help you out with that part. We need some water. We'll use 2 cups of water. We will need a bowl, and we'll need some type of strainer. We also may want to have some paper towels on hand.
So the first thing we're going to do is take the paper in your kit and we need to turn it into a pulp, basically. So we're going to use a blender. If you don't want to use your blender for this, doing it one time should be okay. It's not going to damage your blender at all. But if you don't want to do it this way, you can also tear up the paper and soak it in water for a while, and then you can try mashing it with your hands. You can use a potato masher, a pastry cutter if you want to, but today we're just going to use the blender. So what we'll do is pour in 2 cups of water into our blender. My assistant is going to help me. And then we will just rip up our construction paper or recycled paper if you're using something else. Rip it up into small pieces and push it down into the water. While Mike and I are doing that, we just want to take a second to say thank you to everyone who sends in their photos and their videos of the projects that we're working on. We always love seeing them and sharing them. If you've done one of our kits, if you've come to one of our programs and made something, or if you've just made something on your own at home, go ahead and use the QR code right on the front of the kit to share it with us, and we'd love to feature it in one of our upcoming videos. Now, I'm not really sure what was happening here. Maybe we should just get back to the video.
So now with all the paper kind of ripped up, placed into the blender, we got 2 cups of water in there. Make sure you put the lid on. Now we're ready, and just pulse your blender until it's into a nice, what would you call it? Like a mash? I don't know.
A pulp.
A pulp.
If you need to add a little more water during this process, you can do that too.
Yeah.
So our pulp is a good consistency, but there's a little too much water in there, so now we're going to strain some out. We're using a fine mesh strainer for this. If you have one at home, use that. If you have cheesecloth, you can try that too, but we just need to get some of the water out of that pulp.
You could use a screen door.
So I'm just going to gently press it down, squeeze some of that water out. We don't want it to dry out completely, but we want to get it to a consistency where it's still kind of damp or moist, but we can form it into a ball when we need to. So most of the water's out. It's still pretty wet, but we can shape it as needed. So this is good consistency now.
Okay, now we emptied out that bowl, so because there was water in there, so go ahead and you can just put that down the drain, that's fine. Our next step is to take the seeds and we need to sprinkle them and kind of mix them into that pulp that we made. So we're going to use the large bowl for that. In your kit, we had provided you some silicone molds. You can use these. This will be where you'll shape the pulp and seeds, but you can also use a cookie cutter, or you could just make balls out of it, or if you have other silicone molds. But we wanted to provide you with at least a few. Here. Oh, do you want to see yourself for a second?
Always. So go ahead and just dump those seeds right into your pulp and mix it all together. once your pulp and your seeds are all mixed together, go ahead and take a small amount and you're going to start filling the silicone mold and just go ahead and push it down in there. If more water comes out at this point, that's okay. Let it drain a little bit and just fill it as much as you can. I'm going to push it down a little bit to try and get the shape of the design to come through.
Now you'll have more pulp and mix than these 3 silicone shapes will fill up. So if you want to try and keep them as detailed as possible, you can let the pulp mixture dry in that silicone mold. Otherwise, for us, we're going to just pop them out. They'll lose a little bit of the definition or the detail, but then we'll be able to make a whole bunch of these and use up all the mix.
So once your seed bombs are all done, you'll want to let them sit and dry out for a little while. When you're ready to plant them, you can either try planting them outside. If you're going to do that, you'll probably want to wait until the last frost, so it's warm enough to plant them, and that'll be a little later in April or May for our area. But if you want to wait, you can plant them outside. If you want to try to plant them inside in a container, you can do that. But in order to plant them, all you have to do is make sure they're covered with a little bit of soil. So we'll just cover it up a little, and then we'll make sure that it gets some water regularly.
Once you've planted the seed bomb, just go ahead and make sure that the soil stays wet. And after about 7 to 10 days, which is the germination period, you should have some wildflowers.
They look great.
Yeah, nice job.